I just want to share how important obedience is and how being obedient can literally save someone's life. And my obedience, it like has like an impact on other people. And for me, it was when, I was going through different churches and I just wanted to pause and find a home church. And so I was like praying and asking God where He wanted me to be planted at. And He told me where. In my obedience of going, I was able to bring my parents. So if I would have not listened to God and if I would have done it my way, then my parents wouldn't be going to church, or they wouldn't have had a home church. And in other situations as well, for me, inviting people to Bible study has changed their lives. It has changed his life, and my friend inviting me changed my life. So just planting those seeds and just seeing God move. And if God is putting something on your heart to invite somebody to church or to a Bible study, don't doubt it and just do it. God is going to move, and He's the one that makes everything happen. So yeah, that's what has happened in my life. Other people's obedience has saved my life, and it's a good feeling to be able to do that for other people and seeing God move in their lives, because you never really know what somebody's going through. Like, they could be going through depression or just really needing fellowship and just being around other people. So yeah, I would say just go ahead and do it if God is putting it on your heart.
Okay, so I know obedience is a big, huge deal. It's a big thing, but also view some small things too. So for the very first thing that comes to mind is since I've been a believer, the first thing I did was stop cursing. We don't look at that as like a big deal, but for me, it was a big deal because if something had happened, my emotions and how I actually felt were curse words. That's how I expressed myself. But I wanted to stop, and it's no coincidence that something as small as that, people could look at you and be like, oh, there's something different about you. I don't see you curse. Are you a person of faith or whatever? But it just sort of opened a door that I couldn't open. So it's maybe like when you do feel like cursing, you got to think about the big picture. Something as small as that could do a lot of things. And also on a bigger scale, I waited a really long time before I had left my church. I just didn't want to leave for no reason. I didn't want to leave because I felt a certain way, right? I didn't want to curse just because I felt a certain way. And so I waited and waited and waited, and God was still blessing me while I was waiting, knowing that my heart had been sort of, to look elsewhere. But I had to be obedient because God still was speaking to me where I was. And just because I go somewhere else doesn't mean really too much, other than the fact that I didn't want to act out of my flesh. I wanted to be patient, and I wanted God to choose a place for me to go. And then also to going to what Myra said, that I waited, and a Bible study opened up. I reached out to her. She opened it up, the invitation, and just by her obedience, it kind of navigated my situation, and it led me to a better place. And I'm glad that I did wait, and I'm glad that I didn't act out of my flesh, and I'm glad that with the cursing, that I stopped cursing, and now it's natural. Your obedience becomes natural, becomes who you are, and that goes with being born again. And so it all ties together, and God is the author and the finisher. And just remember that if we think that His story is a certain way, we're going to act a certain way, but we don't know God's plans. So obedience will help us understand God's